Welcome to the Rad Dad Redemption Podcast. Here's your hosts, Drew and Dex.
All right, we're back.
Oh my God. And I'm so happy to be back.
It was a journey for you to just even get here tonight.
Yeah, man. I was on the road. I just got back. I was in the bush. I was gone for a week.
Like literally in the forest, and that's not a euphemism for like trying to find my wiener, because I haven't shaved down there in a little while. Yeah.
It took me hours. Yeah, well, you know I'm liberal when it comes to, the old schween. No, I was in the literal bush in the trees with my family, and we went camping for a week. And man, let me tell you, and I'll have to tread lightly because my wife is a podcast listener, and we had the best time. But like, what an underestimation of my parenting skills before going into this adventure.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like people on Reels making, like jokes about going on vacation with kids is basically just like watching your kids in a foreign location. And that's exactly what, like, you're basically just like, let's load everybody up and like, let's turn the difficulty level of parenting up to 10.
Get rid of all the comforts of home, all your knickknacks, all your support network, all your like ability to just kind of like hit pause on something. I can't even chuck on Paw Patrol to get like a minute, It's just a really, really intense experience. And the other thing that Megan and I definitely didn't account for is that up until this point, Marin had been in daycare for like 10 months. And so we had this idea that we were just going to take her from daycare and she's going to have summer with us because I'm off for 2 months and it's going to be this seamless transition. And our first notion was to take these kids out camping and just like do it live.
Just jump in with both feet.
Oh, man. We just got back. I had like a 6-hour drive. It's not that far away because I know you guys are coming out with us.
Yeah.
But there was like crazy traffic. And like when you're a parent, traffic is like, it's a very dangerous situation.
Yeah. I mean, kids are shitting themselves.
Literally. Yeah. You add an hour onto your trip, and what you've really done is you've widened the prospect of poopy pants, like stuck behind a semi. Your car's just reeking. We had a double header like coming through Blairmore, just like 2 stinky shits. We're on hour 4 of the drive, and we're like, we got to peel out. But as soon as we do that, we lost our spot in line.
Yeah.
And we're like, that doesn't matter. Like, we just have to like call it quits. I think that's what you got to do when you're on the road with kids. You have to expect to just, if this is a 2-hour detour, just to kind of like get things back on track, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always feel like whenever we go somewhere, we got family in like Edmonton or Saskatchewan. I always feel like when we're making that trek, we're loading up the SUV. Okay, both girls, everything they need. One of them's a baby, so she needs her pack and play and like blah 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 blah. Giant list of things, and then throw the dog in there who's blind, right? Like, and I'm just, every time we pack up, I'm like, are we fucking moving? Like, it feels like you're just taking your entire life because your kids need so much shit and just repositioning it in a different city.
Well, and that's the funny thing. That's what I kept thinking about. I was like, what an insane concept. The inherent value of going out and camping is that we're getting away from it all and we're spending quality time with each other in a place that Megan and I, her parents bought that spot in 2006. We kind of grew up there. We have a lot of fond memories. There's a lot of cool things to do. And we're like going to go out there and impart this, natural experience, quote unquote, natural glamping experience onto our young people. And it's going to be fantastic. And that's what we're providing for them. But there's this like little subconscious thing that's like, you better bring all your shit. You better bring everything. Because once you're out there, you don't have it. And that was our experience. And it was so fantastic. But yeah, you essentially, camping is kind of a wild thing in itself. You're just like, I'm going to go to another location and I'm just going to not have access to anything. I'm going to eat like shittier food, I'm going to be by myself, and then we're going to parent. And it was fantastic. A lot of great memories created, but we got our show ran. Like we had some big tantrums.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had some hard times out in the bush.
Well, and like that's the other thing is like, for all the stress that you're adding onto yourselves, like you have 2 kids who have like a routine, especially like.
And you
Lindy.
obliterate it and you destroy it
like,
intentionally.
Lindy is just like just getting used to the world, and you're like, we're taking you to the fucking boonies, girl.
Yeah, time change. You're sleeping in a different spot. Oh, the first night we put Marin down, and you could just hear her in her crib, and it was just like you'd put her in a potato sack, and you're like, make sense of your surroundings, because you should just wake up and be so unfamiliar, being like, where am I? You know, like in baby speak. And we're like, oh yeah.
Welcome to camping.
There's no air conditioning. The air conditioner's busted. She's getting cooked, and I'm like, the great outdoors. Like, I can just, there are, like, I'm really underselling it. There were some amazing moments out there, but it did make me think. I was like, what are we doing? Why do you do this? What's the draw? Because there was some outside time, there was some park time, and definitely a lot of like just me and my 3 girls, and that was really special. But then there were all these other times where like my daughter is just like, she's filled her diaper, and then before I can get her changed, she's rolled in pine needles and bugs and then like ate a couple rocks. She's
just like one of those little bird feeders that you make in like kindergarten, where you get the pine cone, you roll in peanut butter through the fucking bird seed. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm just like, this is it. This is the experience.
I just ruined peanut butter for a lot of listeners. Oh, they're just thinking of some shit covered baby rolling around in pine needles, and they're like, I don't like peanut butter anymore. I don't know why, but
it's endearing, and that peanut butter will remember those experiences forever. There you go.
All right, so take your pine cones, so to speak, out to the woods.
Yeah,
enjoy the. You know what? I always think about like in Canada, we have a very limited window of like genuinely enjoying the outdoors, and people are gonna be like, well, snowboarding. I'm like, yeah, snowboarding's great, but like it's also really hard to plan a snowboarding trip, because it can be like -5 and like a beautiful day on the hill, or it can be -40, wind whipping your face, like you lose an appendage in 2 minutes because it was exposed to the cold air. Whereas like in the summer, what's the worst that you can possibly see weather-wise, barring like tornadoes and natural disasters? It's like, oh, it's a little chilly, or it's really hot, but it's like manageable, right? And so you've got this limited window to enjoy this like beautiful nature that our country has to offer. And so you just jam it all into the summer. Like, I feel like we're doing that right now. It's just so many activities. It's like, force them into your calendar, like get them in there, because before you know it, it's November, December, and you don't know what it's gonna be like.
Well, and I find that funny too, because that's absolutely what we do. And as a teacher, I get 2 months off, and the whole idea, one of the major benefits is that you'll like enter the next school calendar year refreshed, and you're recharged, you're ready to just go out there and like suck your job's dick. You're gonna do so fucking awesome because you've had this like super restful period. And I was like, no, I'm trying to like pull my kid from jumping in the fire, while the other one is just going like mad doo-doo dumps. My wife hates me because I'm not helping as much, but I'm just like exhausted, getting bit by mosquitoes. It was amazing. I can't wait to get out there with you.
Yeah, you're making it sound so awesome.
No, I think I led with the bad. I led with the bad because that's what I felt today. Today was the like coming home. It was the coming down.
How refreshed are you feeling? Like 1 out of 10 right now?
7. Yeah, and that's for radio.
It didn't look like a 7 in your eyes.
It was an amazing. It's honestly, it's so good. And there were so many times in the week where like kids are blowing up, things are tough, and I would say to my wife, I'd say like, we'll miss this, and I think that's true.
Yeah,
like you have this time in your lives where these young people are completely dependent on you. You decided to do this. You made your bed. It was your decision to come on here and do it.
You made your bed in your bed.
In your literal shit bed. That's another thing when you're like an old big guy. Just like, you know what I don't want to do? Sleep in my comfortable bed that I like spent years tailoring to my specific needs, and now I'm just gonna go on this like crusty RV mattress. Yeah, throw your shit out. But there'll be a time, and probably a time before I even realize where my kids won't want to come with me. I've seen it. I was that kid where you're like, we're going camping, and they're like, I'm gonna go drink 40s down in the river valley and wash dishes. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm washing dishes at BP's. Like I got big things on the horizon. Why would I want to hang with my family? So it is an amazing time, and like definitely memories. But Not easy. Not easy.
There you go. That's the wrap up right there. Not easy.
Not easy. One thing that was really cool, and I had like a very nostalgic experience, but also like it's just so wholesome, was we needed downtime. Like we had to get these kids just kind of like settled at some points. And one of the things we had out there was like an old CRT TV VHS combo.
Oh
yeah, and we had just like a Safeway bag stacked with VHS tapes, and I was laughing when we were like driving down. It was a bag that Meg's mom wanted to throw out, or didn't want to throw it. Actually, I wanted to throw it. I was like, "We'll never use this shit." She's like, "You'll use it at the camper," and I was like, "That's so dumb." Like, this is generations old media. Like
this isn't even a DVD.
Yeah, DVDs are outdated. They suck. Okay, no one watches VHSs, but like, thank goodness we had that bag. But I was looking at it when we were driving down, and they were horrible films, and we watched every one of them.
Hit me with some titles. What did you have in the old VHS bag?
Naked Gun 2.5.
Okay.
Naked Gun 33 1/3. Leslie Nielsen.
That's, you know what, that's not, well, that's not, it's not the original Naked Gun, so yeah, I can see. Did they have the original, or was it just
2 and 3? Yeah, we couldn't even see where it all started. We had a Disney sing-along tunes cassette, which was a rip. Not rip as in like I felt cheated, but rip as in like, wow, this came out in the 90s, and there was still like Song of the South and shit on it. Like it was, it was pretty intense.
All the stuff that got canceled.
Yeah. That was kind of a real like trip down, not memory lane, but like, wow, what were we doing in the 90s? Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That's a classic.
Which was that's how it got started. It was like the first big rain day, and we're like, well, let's pull this shit out, and that we watched that, and like, oh yeah, oh, boom, 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 yeah, that was a hit. Shrek 1 and 2, Monsters Inc. Lots of Disney.
These are hits.
Yeah, well,
I love Shrek. I love Shrek.
That's what I came to appreciate, because I was laughing. I was like, we're never going to watch any of these, and we watched every single one of them. And Shrek was definitely a highlight.
Shrek holds up today.
Absolutely. And I think the sequel did too. I was pretty down on it. Just looking at it, and I was like, oh yeah, this whole Disney thing where you do one good, and then you pump out 6, and you get different voice actors. No, that's a quality product. But the first one, like, it's funny. Mm-hmm. And I think it was the first film that I was cognizant of, like, the parent humor involved.
Yeah.
Like when they're first explaining that Shrek is there to rescue Fiona, like at the bequest, if that's a word, of Lord Farquaad, and they just riff for like 10 minutes on like small dick jokes. Just like, I was dying, and I was like, this must have been such an amazing experience for parents back in the day.
I always love when they throw in the jokes for parents. One of my favorite scenes from that movie is when he's like interrogating the gingerbread man. It's like, do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man! The Muffin Man! It's like so dark, but they're just singing, do you know the Muffin Man, basically. Oh, that's such a funny scene.
Man, what else we have? But then that was funny though, because we had the juxtaposition, because then we had some of like the like OG Disney classics. We had Bambi, and I like those types of movies are really sick in the sense that I like animation, and it's crazy to watch those movies nowadays and be like, man, this is all cell shaded. All these backgrounds were painted on glass and then stacked vertically, and they would pan the camera over them to get like parallax scrolling, and then put little pieces of plastic with hand-drawn animations. Like, this was so cool to watch, but they're shit. There's no adult jokes. They all have like orchestral fucking scores, and like nothing happens.
There's no Smash Mouth.
There's no Smash Mouth.
It's bullshit. Bambi would have been so good if Smash Mouth just did the soundtrack. Oh man, I thought a lot about Smash Mouth on this trip too. But it was cool. So I can't remember. There's a couple other ones, but we watched all these old movies, and then when we were out, we were sad. We're like, wow, what? We watched them all, and so we started trying to like hotspot and find like other movies, and we were playing the nostalgia game. We're like, oh, do you remember this movie? Like, oh, do you remember this movie? And we were trying to just like, because we were our eyes were open now. Like, these aren't
piles of trash. These VHS, these were experiences here. And one of my picks that I told Megan that I swore up and down was like a good movie was Small Soldiers. Did you ever see Small Soldiers?
I had like all the figurines and stuff too, and like that movie had to be one of the biggest. Like, we're gonna make a movie, and we're also just gonna fucking fill Toys R Us with like every piece of memorabilia we can imagine.
Oh yeah, there was game tie-ins.
Got all of it. I remember having like all the Small Soldiers and all the like little monster things. Yeah,
the Gorgons.
The Gorgonites. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, the Gorgonites and the Major Chip fucking whatever. It was Tommy Lee Jones. What a cast too. I was like really building up. I was like, David Alan Cross is in this. Fucking Phil Hartman is in this. Kirsten Dunst, like pre-Spider-Man. It's basically the best movie ever fucking made. And Megan's like, all right, I'm in. Horrible. Like,
it doesn't hold up.
No,
it's disappointing to me.
It's unwatchable.
Oh, that's sad.
Oh, but it was funny though, because I think you and I do the same thing. We look at movies through different lenses, and I was like, what happened to this fucking movie? Like, I thought it was so good. Obviously, there's some like child misinformation there, nostalgia, but it was coming on the tail end of the 97-98 writer's strike, and it got me like right into the mix. Is like, what was the production like? Because you're watching this fucking movie, and there's so many moments that are like easily defeatable. Like the very first moment, this kid Alan Abernathy like discovers these sentient little toys, and they're like evil, and he's like, what am I gonna do? And it's like, well, just step on them.
Like hit it with a baseball bat.
Like, he gives them time to like organize in his father's woodshed and like build like weapons of mass destructions with like fucking propane tanks and saws, and like then they're a problem. Like there was so many fucking moments in the movie where it's like, you could have ended this shit right now, or like that wouldn't have happened.
I do hate that about movies sometimes, where like there's always like a moment where the stakes are amped up a little bit, but some movies will just keep doing that, and you'll be like, okay, here's the resolution. It's like, no, but then somebody messed up the tiniest little thing, and now the stakes are even higher. And I'm like, that's such a shitty like just writing crutch.
Yeah, man.
And now that you say that, I'm thinking about that movie, and I'm like, man, there's just so many moments where you're like, okay, this is it. The movie's over. They've solved the problem, and it's like, but wait.
Or one character, like their function in the movie is to do something ridiculous. They're the MacGuffin, like so the movie can happen. It's just like, I'm trying to think. Like I don't want to do like a full synopsis of the film in case you want to go watch Small Soldiers.
You've really built it up. I feel like when you look at things through the nostalgia lens, it can really like kind of fuck with your memory a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because like,
what's a movie you thought was amazing?
I was actually going to go to a video game.
Okay, I'm ready.
And this is going to be so controversial, and people are going to be mad at me for this. But GoldenEye.
I'm with you. I got notes. It's terrible.
Sucks.
We just lost half our listeners.
Oh yeah. It was great at the time. And
great pause music.
Great pause music, and at the time it was like the cutting edge first person shooter. Right? You played on your N64, that was the shit. But now you go back and play, and people are like, oh, let's play GoldenEye. And I'm like, no. Because you're remembering that through the lens of like a kid in like grade 5 who just got the N64, the hottest piece of tech out there. And this was the shit. It's not that way anymore. We got Call of Duty. We got games that have $100 million pumped into them every year to like develop with like the best animators and the best graphics and the best engines behind them. You're going to go back to GoldenEye, where like the controls are horrible. You've got the one stick.
It's not dual analog. I mean, so like for like the first level starts out, and it's kind of hype, you got to take out the dude in the tower.
Yeah.
You get your first AK, you get a sniper rifle.
Yeah.
And you take the guys out down the fucking tunnel, and like it's very much a movie tie-in.
Off the dam at the end.
Yeah, it's exactly kind of like the first mission that you see in GoldenEye. But like as you're playing it, yeah, it's not dual analog. You got one stick. I'm pretty sure, I think you can change it, but I think it's like inverted off the hop. You got your fucking like ridiculous Z button, like semi-auto targeting. Like it's on a console that didn't hold up. Like you look at the entire like 300 some odd game catalog of the N64, and I'm an N64 guy.
I have one sitting upstairs. I'm a big N64 fan.
But like the games that hold up, the games that like your friends are coming over and playing now, like there's 10. Yeah. Maybe, and that's a stretch.
That's generous.
Yeah, and it's like Mario Kart.
Mario Kart, Super Smash.
Fuck, there's two.
Too. Like your friend will be like, let's play GoldenEye, and then you have to like be like, well, this is gonna disappoint you.
I get hyped thinking about like Super Mario, but even that game had like in like the worst ways camera issues that just like games that you just die because the game is bad.
Yeah,
that's a really you can't revisit those.
No.
Yeah.
You know what's another good one from 64?
What's that?
Paper Mario.
Yeah, the first like kind of RPG tie-in. Yeah, there's a couple. There's definitely
there's a few good ones. Anyway, nostalgia lens, it can really fuck.
You go back, you play GoldenEye. This is shit. It ruins your childhood.
Then you go watch Small Soldiers,
and that was like, honestly, man, you should have seen like the hype I was giving this movie, and I wasn't actually like trying to fool my wife. I wasn't like pulling a fast one on her. I was like, no, I'm telling you, like this movie should have been an Academy Award winner. It just, for whatever reason, didn't get picked up. And it's unwatchable. Like right down to the dialogue, even the character models. I like went and looked it up after, and like it's like 1998. So you have like burgeoning CGI, but then like a lot of like puppets and stuff, and they just kind of like go back and forth between each scene. Like some is CGI, some is like a hand puppet. Like it looks like shit.
They were just figuring that out because Toy Story was the first ever computer animated film.
That was one of the ones we had. And I gotta say, Toy Story animation wise, no, but story wise, absolutely holds up.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, Randy Newman can take a fucking hike.
You got a friend.
Right foot, left foot. Yeah, I don't know about that soundtrack, but that Tom Hanks, Woody Allen, like, and another
Tim
one.
Allen.
What did I say? Woody Allen?
Woody Allen. He's hiding out in Poland.
That's a big mistake. Woody Allen. Yay.
Woody Allen, he would have loved to be in that kid's bedroom, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Fucking Tim Allen. Yeah, he's not so great. He was flashing his dick around. Yeah, Tim Allen. Yeah, not Woody Allen. Yeah, yikes. But Tim Allen, Tom Hanks, cool voice cast. John Ratzenberger is the fucking pig.
Yeah.
Is it Berger or Ratzenberg? John Ratzenberg. He was on Cheers.
Yeah, I can't think of. I'm gonna say you got it right, but you did just say Woody Allen was in Toy Story, so
that was just an honest mistake. But yeah, so
you know who does a lot of
Woody
voicing
Allen
in older movies, like
Woody Allen.
I'm gonna say like Woody Allen. I'm gonna say like early 2000s, late 90s movies where Kennedy was watching a few of these. Is Danny DeVito. He just does so many voice roles in like a lot of these movies. I'm trying to think specific. Oh, Hercules. He's in Hercules.
He's the he's the goat trainer. Yeah. Dude, I loved Hercules.
It's a decent one too.
That's one of those ones that holds up in terms of like, I want to say golden era of drawn animation. Like,
and that was right before kind of the shift to like all computer animation. It was right around. It was probably one of the last few that Disney made that wasn't computer animation.
Yeah, I really liked that one. That had a bunch of tie-ins too, bunch of toys, bunch of games, but just like quality product.
Yeah,
great soundtrack. I'm trying to think of other ones from that era. We did watch Toy Story, and yeah, it's fantastic. It gave me the vibes. And now I'm trying to think of other Danny DeVito movies. He was the Penguin in Batman Returns. No.
Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, he was the Penguin. He was also
in the second Tim Burton one.
He's also the dad in the OG Matilda.
What? Oh yeah. He gets his hat glued to his shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I only know this because Kennedy is going through like a classic movie kick, and literally over the last week she's watched OG Matilda and Hercules. So that's why I'm like, is Danny DeVito in every fucking movie? Like, I feel like it's just like sample bias. But I'm just like, man, this guy was just making that's why he was able to just do It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia for like $2 an episode, is because he made $1 billion in the 90s and early 2000s.
Well, I think it was so I think who plays Joker in the first Batman? Jack Nicholson, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and he had a deal that he got like residual, he got like royalties off the sale of the film that included, I don't want to say it included VHS at the time, but just like the theatrical release. And so like it was like a small, here's your nominal salary for agreeing to do it. But he was like, I'm not going to do this fucking Tim Burton superhero movie unless I get a cut of the sales. And that movie was so huge. He ended up making, it could be a jingle coming on, but I want to say it was like either 30 or $60 million for his role.
Yeah.
And this is in like 89.
Yeah.
So that's
big. That's like $1 billion
that's like
today.
$1 billion.
Yeah, in inflation, hell yeah.
Yeah, so he could just like go ahead and do anger management. It didn't matter.
I'm trying to think. Oh, this is gonna kill me now because there was an actress who did a movie that was way beneath her, but it actually ended up being like a hit. But that she put that deal into. Oh, I need to look this up now. I'm gonna grab my phone, but. She put it in that, I'll do it for $100,000. My normal take on a movie would be, $2 million, but I'm getting 20% of the theatrical release. And they're like, this thing's going to fucking bomb. Like, yeah, whatever. If we get your name on there, we might actually make some money on this thing. And it ended up being a hit. And she made a shitload of money.
Well, now I need to know who.
Yeah, now I'm gonna I need to pull up my old.
Let's do you haven't done this in a while. Let's do a pause. I got to tinkle anyway.
Okay,
play a little
pause
jingle.
and I'm gonna do. Yeah, we'll do the piano music.
Yeah, hit that piano
All
music.
right. Okay, you were peeing and I was doing some research. So I'll get to the actress that I was thinking of.
It took a while. I had to get through my I had to get through the bush.
It's like a snake poking through the grass.
It was an extended break. The Zohan, they call me. Also a movie that did or did not hold up. I don't
Depends
know.
who you ask.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, but John Heder in Napoleon Dynamite, he did it for $1,000 because it was like an independent film project. He was like just starting to make a name for himself. And I think his buddy was making it or something. And so he did it for $1,000, but negotiated like a big chunk of the theatrical release. And it became like a cult classic. Like if you were in high school at that time when that movie came out, it was the movie to watch. And it was just quotable. It was like even before Borat came, everybody was quoting lines from that movie. And he made a shitload of money and then launched his career and did a bunch of huge roles after that.
That one is like, I remember we were at like a friend's house and they had it on. I was like, what is this movie?
It was so irreverent and weird, but it was just different.
The Vote Pedro.
And then all the movies that came after that tried to like capture kind of that same energy, like just being kind of quirky and weird, like Little Miss Sunshine, which is a great movie. But like, I feel like it inspired so many people to like get away from that traditional blockbuster style, and they got into some of these like Napoleon Dynamite is just like it's a cultural icon.
It's so nuanced. It almost gives you like Wes Anderson vibes, kind of like the way it's filmed, but it's definitely not that. And there's so many like little things, like even the way. I can't remember her name, but the girl in the movie, like just like her infatuation with making like beaded animals. Yeah. And there's like so many callbacks
and
to
her
it.
Shitty drawings, but like everybody's like, yeah, that's really good. Like,
oh my God. Uncle Rico trying to make him like the football star and he's just like filming his shit and getting in fights. He's got to watch Kip and Napoleon.
When he smokes Napoleon with the steak from like, and he's like, could have gone to state.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's the little,
and so that just like, that blew up John Hughes' career, and he probably still makes a ton of money off of it because he took $1,000. I think the total budget for that movie, and I could be wrong on this, but I remember reading it was like $50,000, which is like nothing for a movie.
But they landed fucking Haley Duff, Hillary Duff's sister. I don't know if it's Haley. Is it Haley?
I don't know.
Hillary Duff's sister is definitely in it.
Really?
Yeah. She's definitely like the cheerleader girl. Okay. The mean queen.
I feel like that's definitely one of those situations. It's like a who do you know? Because you're an independent filmmaker. You're like, I want to make something that's going to be
we need a name.
Dope. And we need some. And it's like
Hillary Duff's sister.
I went to high school with Sassafras Duff.
They're in the boardroom. They're in the writer's room. They're like, we got her.
Yeah,
Hillary Duff.
But sister. The actress that I was thinking of who made a shitload of money off of a movie for like the rights afterwards, and she was actually disappointed because this happened back in the 70s, and of course, women were not getting the respect that they deserve. Still don't. Anyway, that's me being, Mr.
Progressive.
Mr. Feminist over here. But anyway.
Say it like it is, Dex.
Carrie Fisher in Star Wars, but all the Star Wars cast, like that OG Star Wars cast, because that movie was fully expected to be a flop. They're like, nobody wants to watch this shitty space movie. And so they were taking salaries of like $1,000 a week, $10,000 a week for like, which is pretty low for like a big name movie star.
Yeah, I think Harrison Ford is in that boat too. He either like made it under some kind of like crazy stipulation regarding residuals as well, or it was like, I'll do this, but you have to make this fucking movie for me kind of thing.
Yeah. And so Carrie Fisher, she got, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you think about the amount of money Star Wars has made, she got 1/4% of all money the franchise has ever made.
What?
And Star Wars is like $1 trillion franchise.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So, and it's same thing with like some of the other actors, like I forget who it was, but they made, I think it was Mark Hamill, just from the first movie with all the residuals and stuff, he made $80 million in like 1970, 80 money, right? Which is like more than he's made ever in any other movie combined that he's ever done. So it's pretty wild. Like they, you know, if you're an up and coming actor, like consider the potential of theater. But then there's Hollywood accounting.
Go on.
You've never heard of Hollywood accounting?
Well, kind of.
They'll basically purposely fudge the books to make it look like a loss to the studio, because that's how they'll claim back. Like they'll claim a loss on the marketing of the movie or whatever, or they'll spend a shitload of money on other stuff, and they'll be like, oh yeah, so you'll get like 20% of the profits, but then they'll throw in like $100 million in marketing and blah blah, and there'll be all these stipulations. And then at the end, they're like, "Oh, the movie lost $9 million. It's a huge box office success and all of this." And it's Hollywood accounting. And then the actors and actresses that you know sign on for those post theatrical deals, they get shafted hard.
Oh, very interesting.
So they almost like they have to, and very few can actually pull this off. You either need to be a bigger name going into a smaller movie, or you need to be like just a huge name that can kind of command any contract. You've got to say, no, it's not the after profit I'm getting. It's 2% of the actual revenue, because they will fuck up with the accounting.
Get that Carrie Fisher money.
Get that Carrie Fisher money, baby.
Yeah, I wonder what she's doing now.
It's a very sad story.
Yeah, her and Elizabeth May just fucking...
Talking about their Star Wars money.
Can't
Elizabeth
take it with
May
you.
was in Star Wars, right?
Yeah. She was
Jabba the
Jabba.
Hutt.
Stop. I fuck you not. We literally...
We both said that at the same time.
You owe me a Pepsi. Oh my god. Yeah, that was her breakout role. Recycle, reuse, reduce. Yeah.
Oh, it's killing me.
All right, so there's a little lesson for you, Hollywood accounting, and what you need to sign up for. I know there's opposite examples, and I can't name any of our people have taken like major cuts to be a part of films. Like, oh, this is gonna be something. Like, you just pay me my minimum, and I'm involved. Carrie Fisher money, John Heater money.
Yeah. I guess that could totally blow up in your face. Can you imagine John Heater, like he does this whole movie, all the months of shooting for $1,000, and it turns out to be a total flop, and he's like, oh no, I just made it. I could have made more money working part-time at McDonald's. Right? Like,
which is what he does now.
Yeah. No, he's probably got really good money now.
I think he's a writer. I think he's involved.
Is he on strike right now with the rest of them?
Yeah. So when you said Hollywood accounting, when I was like, oh, I kind of heard of that, I was like in preparation trying to understand this current writer strike, and I touched on earlier the like ramifications, the implications of the 97-98 strike, and how that might have made what would have been the world's greatest film ever, Small Soldiers, maybe fail to reach its potential with its amazing cast. But all these writer strikes, they've happened over the years, and there've been like it's a shockwave thing. Like so many things that you're probably not even aware that have happened or occurred because of them are like they're real, they're tangible things. And I think we've actually talked about it on this podcast before, but the big 100-day one in like 2007, 2008, that resulted in the reality TV boom. Yeah. There was no, we couldn't have scripted shows. These network shows essentially are unable to do their 22 episode runs from fall till the end of spring, and they need something. Well, boom, Big Brother, boom, Survivor, and like that's what's on TV. But that's what's going on right now with this current writer's strike.
And the Screen Actors Guild just went on strike today in support of. I mean, it's a separate strike, but they're basically they have a lot of the same grievances as the writers.
The Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah. So like
Matt Damon.
Actually, speaking of Matt Damon, I was reading a news story today. The Oppenheimer premiere was I guess early morning for us, but it was in London, and they were going on strike at midnight, July 13th, which is this morning. And so they moved the red carpet event up because they knew that as soon as this strike went, they're not doing any promo for movies. Like, you've got to follow, your union brothers and sisters, right? So they moved the red carpet event up for Oppenheimer, and then Christopher Nolan came out for the actual like premiere and was like, yeah, none of the actors and actresses are here, Matt Damon being one of them. They went back to the US. They're now on strike. They're joining the writers on the picket lines. So it kind of, an Oppenheimer is going to be like the movie of the summer, and now it's kind of like shrouded in this, like, you got this huge cast who didn't even come to the premiere. They went down the red carpet and they're like, all right, see ya.
Poor Nolan, man, because he got done dirty with Tenet as well. That was the COVID one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's had a bad stretch with timing. But this current strike, my understanding is that essentially, from a writer's standpoint, the way that media is released now with these streaming services, things are coming out 8-episode arcs, 10-episode arcs. They're filmed over the course of 13 weeks, and you essentially can't have a steady job.
No.
You instead of booking a gig and that lasts you the year and you have the protections that would be afforded to like any working individual in one of the world's most expensive cities, you're getting like weeks of that, and then like good luck out there. And the way that it's being done is essentially they're not getting producing credits, they're getting them all in a room, they're getting all their fucking ideas, and they're just like banging these shows out ad free on these platforms, and then being told like, yeah, there's no work.
Yeah. And then I mean, it's the same thing that the music industry is going through with Spotify and stuff like that, where, the artists and the people that put the work into creating what we enjoy, their residuals are so low because of the economics of streaming now, right? You pay your $12.99 a month for Netflix. It's like, the residual to the writer on that show is like a quarter of a penny per stream, right? Because they're not signing, ABC's not buying the show for $50 million a season, and you get that credit every time it's on the air. It's like, no, you're getting a very small portion of what Netflix is paying per stream, right? So it's really eaten into like even after the job's done, their income should be continuing. They're getting checks in the mail for like 45 cents because this massively successful show only got streamed 90 million times.
And what's yet to be seen now is like, unlike other strikes in the past where, there was a market decrease in the quality of product that networks and production companies were able to put out, these streaming networks have this giant catalog, Yep. The hit's not going to be there. They're taking hits already in terms of the amount of people subscribing, and the production costs, how things are made these days. Money is not necessarily spent on writing. It's spent on special effects budgets and filming locations, what have you. But like, they're sitting back and they're like, well, we've got content.
We've got 2 years of content.
Yeah.
I think where you're going to see maybe like some people are going to start to take notice, and maybe after the summer, because the summer tends to be a slow time for release, especially like TV shows. They usually pick up in the fall, right? Movies is a little different, but movies are made years in advance, so you wouldn't see that effect for potentially till next summer, even the summer after. But is the late night shows and stuff like that, right?
Immediately, yeah,
because they rely on massive teams of writers to put a new show on every night, and all their writers are on strike, right? And it's a really bad look if you go hire somebody across the picket lines, or if you're somebody that walks across the picket lines, because once that deal is done, once they get back to work, you're blacklisted from the industry forever. You can't get in the union, and then they've got the union agreements about they only hire union writers, right? So it's just everything comes to a grinding halt. And yeah, you see it on those like everyday live shows, like
Do you watch a lot of late nights still?
Not really, no. Like, and the ones that I do watch that kind of leap off of that concept, like Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, is like, it's almost treated like a TV show with seasons, right? Like, he does the once a week episode, and it's got like a release schedule. So I couldn't tell you the last time I watched like a late night show.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like,
I like Colbert, but I don't watch the show religiously. I couldn't tell you the last time I watched it.
No, what you watch are the fucking YouTube videos and the shorts,
or the reels or whatever.
Yeah, the reels, absolutely.
So there's another economics issue with all of that.
Well, and that's so I was saying before, but like the implications and like the things that have changed as a result of some of these, because I did a bit of research, why some of these were happening. There's the big one in the 80s, and it had to do with home video release, because essentially Hollywood accounting, they were saying like, no, there's not really any future. This is like an unproven market. We don't even know if people are actually going to buy movies to watch in their homes.
And the VHS used to be like $120.
Yes, yeah. So it's like, no, it's not even a real thing. And then like enter the 90s video rentals. It's the market, like there's entire productions that are direct to video because it's so much money to be made on that. And writers essentially aren't getting paid. So boom, there's that one. We have to be a part of that.
There's the AI now. They want protections for studios bringing in, artificial intelligence to write episodes, because they're like, well, if this keeps progressing the way it has over the last, even just a year, like there could be no writers. You can just write me, an episode of Last Week Tonight, pick the top news story and riff on that. Boom. Done.
Boom. I was trying to show my in-laws, because we had talked about ChatGPT, and we talk about OpenAI and that sort of thing often on this show, but we talked about I was trying to explain to them, like how intense it was, like what it could actually do. And I was at the kitchen table and I basically opened it up, and that was one of the things I did. And I was like, say something. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, just tell me, like, give me like a vegetable. And they're like, a tomato. And I was like, okay, give me an animal, a bunny. And I was like, okay, tomato and a bunny. And I put it in. I was like, write me a children's story about a tomato and a bunny.
Yep.
For a 2-year-old. And it was like, brrr, and it was like, it was better than half the fucking shit we pay $15 for a cardboard stock book of, like, instantaneously. Like, it's a real threat, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was the last big one in 07, 08, was like, I think Trey Parker, Matt Stone, they were one of the first people to kind of sound the alarm, because that was what, like, when you could get a lot of content online. And there was no stipulations about that, like the pre-domination of streaming services. Like, okay, you've got like at-home releases, DVD sales, rentals. You've got like your theatrical releases, your network releases. But like, what happens to our media, our content, once it hits the internet? Who gets paid off of that? And so it's going to be interesting to see like what comes of this. Also interesting, like what's going to happen. Is there going to be, like in 07, 08, things that suffer, things you notice? Like I remember, and I wasn't aware of it at the time, but I was watching Heroes. Do you remember Heroes?
Yep.
I fucking loved Heroes. That was a fucking awesome show. And it had like fantastic storylines. It was going somewhere, and it had 2 seasons of just like, I would say, must watch TV. And then it just blew up. And I had no fucking clue as a young person watching that. I was like, what happened?
What the hell happened?
It's fucking terrible.
Didn't
now.
The same thing happen to last season of Lost? It was a victim of the writer's strike, yeah.
And then you go back and look, and it's like, well, no, they would write these things kind of like, like a lot of TV shows, you already said there's a season of TV, essentially. They're writing as the show is airing. And then
they're writing the next season.
They're writing the next season, then it stops, and there's a mad dash. There's a scramble to like make these things make sense. There's a ton of fucking casualties.
Yep.
So it's potentially bad as a consumer in the short term, but there's almost always been like a silver lining. Like they should sort it out. Matt Damon is gonna fucking go in there, the green zone this shit, Born Identity this shit. Matt Damon, yeah.
But anyway, so we're gonna cross the picket lines, I think, this episode. I'm not beholden to the Writers Guild. I got some ideas, and Hollywood's looking for them.
This is a big U-turn. I'm ready. What do you got?
We're doing Cutting Room Floor, the redo.
Part 2,
baby. If you've been a listener since the beginning, the second episode we ever did was the Cutting Room Floor. I still think it's a classic, and we talk about this all the time, it's taken some time for us to find like our groove. I mean, it took at least 8 episodes for me to figure out how fucking microphones work. So like, I feel like episode 2 had so much potential, but we weren't experienced podcasters. Now we've done like 15 episodes. We got this shit on lock.
We're basically world famous. We got our style for sure.
So, Hollywood, if you're looking for some ideas, those writers won't put down their picket signs and get back to work. Let me just say I fully support unions, but for the shtick on this podcast, fuck unions. I got some ideas for you, and also since the Actors Guild's now on strike, I will also act in all of these if you need Hollywood.
If you need a face,
if you need a face or a voice, or if you're doing animation. And I think remakes are hot, right? Especially the live action ones. I just watched the live action Mermaid,
and
it was all right.
Okay,
I don't know, like. Everybody was all hyped up about the controversy because the mermaid, God forbid, she should be something other than white.
That's such shit.
I know. I thought it was fine. I thought they stuck true to like the original story, and so they hit that nostalgia button. The thing that bothered me about the live action was like all the animals and all the fish. Like Flounder was a creepy looking little motherfucker, and I was like, I don't like this at all. I don't like. Everybody's all worried about the Black Mermaid. I'm like, they went and made the fish like way too realistic.
Fucked Flounder up.
You fucked Flounder up. You got fucking Sebastian looking all like a realistic crab, and it's just creepy.
That's the problem with these fucking remakes is they lack the special nuanced characters in the sense that like you just can't do them unless it's an animated film. Like it takes a lot of the quote unquote magic out of these fucking things. Yeah. Like there's something special about animation. I remember watching the Lion King remake, and that was like, still when they're like, is this gonna be like a good thing that they're redoing these movies? And the original Lion King is a hit.
Oh yeah, it's a top 10.
It's an incredible film, and they fucking did away with Zazu.
Yeah,
they just like they didn't have him in there, and like had they had him in there, so one, I was upset. I was like, you did my man dirty. But two, is like you're just gonna have like a very like ultra realistic bird deliver those lines. Like the birds are terrifying. Like he's like a fucking toucan with a little bit of an accent. He's hilarious, and then like you're just gonna have this like squawking, like beady-eyed fucking total predator, like former dinosaur type thing delivering your lines. Like, no, it's horrifying.
Just returned from like picking a carcass clean after the lines are done. Yeah. A little too realistic. Yeah, and it's just, again, animation's so advanced, but there's just something about you. If you had something that was animated before and it clearly was animated, it was not real, and it was a cartoon, and it was for kids, and you're like, we're gonna try and make this look real, but of course we're not just gonna employ like a fucking San Diego zoo to shoot this. So we're going to use CGI, and it's just like the uncanny valley is just like, you're just looking at this weird lion.
It's off-putting.
It's weird. Anyway, after we just shit on live action remakes, I'm going to pitch a really great live action remake.
Here we go. I'm ready for it.
I think we need like a gritty TV drama, very Law and Order SVU, kind of in that same vein. And we need to bring up this very popular title, franchise. That's Paw Patrol. I want to see live action Paw Patrol. They're solving like serious crimes. Like it's not like, oh, Chicoletta's stuck on the roof. Like, how are we going to get her down? No, they're solving murders. Maybe Ryder picked up one of Michael Vick's old pit bulls and he's trying to reform him. Right? And like end of season 1, this pit bull, he's separated from the rest of the group. He's in a warehouse. He's trying to solve a human trafficking ring, and fucking Mayor Humdinger comes out of the shadows, and there's just a showdown, and this fucking pit bull just mauls him. Just mauls the shit out of Mayor Humdinger. Paw Patrol live action remake. Let's do it, baby.
Wow.
Again, Law and Order SVU, Paw Patrol. Let's meld them into one.
Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna have to believe it when I see it.
And I think it's something that, I think you got to put that kind of on the back burner for a few years till a lot of the kids that grew up on Paw Patrol are ready to like take that next step.
That's the play, right? Like you have to, just like we're doing tonight, you have to play on that nostalgia.
Yeah.
Wait till they're...
So you got to hang on to that one. I'm going to say for like another 10 years. These kids will be in high school. Hey, remember Paw Patrol? It's back. And like it's just like, they're solving drug crime and fucking murdered hookers and shit. Yeah,
that's like that I was gonna say the real Scooby-Doo, but they tried that. They did like the Velma series, Did you watch that?
The new one? Like,
Yeah.
No, I heard it was shit though.
It was shit, but that's kind of the angle.
Yeah, making it more like adult-like.
Yeah, and who wrote that one? It was Mindy Kaling. Yeah, and they're trying to like...
Which is a shame. She's super funny, but I feel like they're just trying to lean too much into that, like, like quirky millennials and like everything's sexual, and it was just...
It's a trope, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, so live action Paw Patrol remake. Call me if you want the rights to that shit. Actually, I don't think I can sell the rights to a franchise I don't own.
I want to be a part of it. I'm warming up to the idea. And you had said that your acting services were like you're available, like you're Ryder.
Can I be Ryder?
Yeah, but you're like Ryder after like life's happened to him.
He, the original Paw Patrol is kind of like disbanded.
They're all dead.
dogs are all dead.
They don't live that long.
But he's lost a bunch of the dogs. He's trying to rebuild the Paw Patrol. He's a private investigator now, so he doesn't have the lookout and all the vehicles and stuff. He's pounding a fifth of vodka a day, just like hardened, like I've seen some fucking shit, and it's like, Adventure Bay used to be something, and then he gets some pit bulls together. Oh yeah,
I'm in.
Right?
I like it. That's dark. Oh man, you put me on the spot. I'm trying to think of now, like what would be. I mean, obviously Small Soldiers too, but it's just like a 20-minute short where the kid like immediately deals with the toys.
just bashes the fuck out of them.
It's just like little plastic things like I'm gonna destroy you.
So there's a whole idea. Just take movies with like, again, where the stakes are amped up a notch, but they actually just solve the problem then, and they're like 20-minute movies. Like, think of every horror movie where like they make a stupid decision at the beginning of the movie, and like the killer is allowed to like plan and like organize, and they're like, no, you could have just hit him with your car.
Yeah, you just that's a whole web series. It's just like what would really happen. Actually, I think that's a thing. That's got to be a thing.
There's got to be somebody out there that's done it.
Yeah, I watched. There's like a Romeo and Juliet with cell phones. Have you seen that one?
No.
It's just like Juliet on the horn being like, "Hey Romeo, I'm gonna pretend to kill myself tonight. Like, don't freak out."
Don't freak out, and also take the poison. Yeah,
like don't do anything silly. Like, we'll meet up later.
Speaking of Romeo and Juliet, I had like a huge debate in the car with my wife because she was listening to Taylor Swift's Romeo and Juliet or Love Story.
Yeah.
Where she's talking about Romeo and Juliet, and she also references the Scarlet Letter. And like, I'm not a literary genius, but like I have read, or at least like seen and read Romeo and Juliet and the Scarlet Letter, and like neither of those are like positive love stories. But like Taylor Swift keeps referencing them, and Alicia's like, well, they're overcoming like hardship, and I was like, well, but they both kill themselves in Romeo and Juliet. I feel like that's not like, did Taylor Swift read those stories before she wrote that song?
I don't think so.
No, because like that's not, you wouldn't be like it's one of the greatest tragedies of all time. Like, of every book, play ever done, Romeo and Juliet is one of the greatest tragedies, and she's like, it's a love story. It's like, no, unless you're gonna kill yourself. There's
the other angle, is like you do the last verse of you, like you're Weird Al, but you just sing like the last verse of songs and how they would actually end.
Yeah.
Well, my dude.
There we go. We got one idea for a show.
Yeah. No, I mean, the cutting room floor was an excellent episode. Definitely go back and listen to it. I'm just at a loss. Like, we were talking about like movies that are nostalgic and don't hold up, and I don't know like if I can think of something that like I would want to remake, or I would want to redo something and make it as good as I thought it was. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know?
Like, make something that holds up to your nostalgia. You went back and watched it didn't hold up. It's like, we're redoing this.
Yeah, like Three Ninjas Kick Back, but like every time, like Tom Tom or Tum Tum. Do you remember Three Ninjas Kick Back?
No, I don't think so.
What? With like Rocky and shit? Oh man. The whole premise is like,
you're forgetting that, like, again, I lived in the country as a kid, and like,
yeah, they need to remake the Sheldon Kennedy story. But it's gotta hold up this time. It's gotta have a good ending.
Yeah, Taylor Swift's gonna write a song about it.
Yeah. But it's gonna be a positive,
really positive outcome.
Really positive love story. No, like the Three Ninjas, but like, like they're beating up dudes in like comical ways, but like the reimagined version is like when these kids are like kicking people, like we're seeing like dicks explode and heads pop off. It's X-rated, you know?
Just like a Roadhouse,
Yeah. Oh, fucking Roadhouse. Also a movie that does not hold up.
No?
Were you a Roadhouse kid?
No, but I mean, I remember seeing it and being like, this is wild, but I can't remember it that well, I guess.
Well, Roadhouse with the sways is like pretty cool, pretty awesome, and like the fight scenes are wicked, but the stuff that like doesn't hold up is like what the bad guys do, you know?
Bad guys are always dumb.
These guys are like going to like the local car dealership in town and like putting on an expo of just like they hired a monster truck to like roll over all the inventory, and they're just like laughing maniacally as like this this person's like life work, his like family dealership is just like absolutely destroyed. They're like, he's a real bad dude. I'm like, no, you can't, like, that's he's gonna get arrested. You can't do that.
Well, nostalgia. I think this was a great episode though.
It was a lot of fun.
We had a good time.
We gotta talk about as we peter out, we're 1 week from the Rad Dad Live show, the Rad Dad Variety Night.
Rad Dad Variety Night, July 22nd, 7 o'clock. Big Beaver Brewing, in support of the food bank. Bring non-perishable food items. I was tripping because I was like, don't you think the food bank would take perishables? But then I guess like, I was like, not enough. I don't know. I was going to just bring some fucking carrots or something.
No, it's a real thing. Actually, Megan and I used to run or help run an event for Ant in the city. We would take like that was our job. It was like this huge event run for like some big oil company, will remain unnamed. I don't know if I can say them. But we would like, you know, like at the door you bring in your non-perishable items, and our job was to like give the stuff that you were allowed to give to the food bank, and then, you know, remove the stuff that was perishable. But we were like broke ass college students at the time, so there was like the bin going to the food bank, and there was the bin coming to like 119 Purdue Court West that was going to feed us for a semester.
I guess like they have to organize that because they can't just get a bunch of perishables from every person and then have it all go bad on the shelf.
Yeah.
So if they're going to give it out, they got to like kind of organize. I guess they also give gift cards to people too. Anyway, bring some stuff. Bring some non-perishable stuff. Well, bring your wallet.
I was gonna say bring your wallet because that's not perishable, and
money's good all the time.
Money's good all the time. You know, you can make a straight up donation to the food bank. You can also spend some of that hard-earned cash on our silent auction items that are being provided so generously by a number of small businesses. And so you're getting two birds stoned at once. You're going to be able to buy something very, very, not only like cool and homey that supports a local business and obviously benefits you because you're going to own the stuff, but all that money is going directly to the food bank. So it's a win-win situation. So
you just used a lot of words to explain how purchasing items works.
I was trying to jazz it up. You get to buy stuff.
You can exchange money for goods and services.
You give us money.
And the best part is you'll get to take those goods home with you and do with them what you will.
Some of them are experiences, you know. Some of them are just, you know, tangible items that you now own. Yeah.
I'm actually gonna donate some golf balls and a round of golf, so you can take those golf balls home. And you can put them in your golf bag and you could go golfing with them. Or if you're not a golfer,
and all that money goes to the food bank. Yeah, you could actually string them together and use them as XL anal beads. I don't give a shit.
Use the golf balls however you want, right? You're paying the money for them.
Yeah.
That's the power of you as a consumer.
They're not even golf balls. They're just small little spheres. They're whatever you make them, okay? And they're yours now. And that money that you exchange for them, it goes to the food bank. So that's pretty cool if you ask me.
It's going to be so much fun, though. We're going to have lots of great discussions like we just did there about the nuances of how capitalism works.
Oh, yeah, and I'll be up there selling these things just like I did, explaining commerce from an idiot's standpoint, commerce for dummies. We also have some fantastic performers. Yeah. Our dude Ben Marsh coming up doing his acoustic set, beautiful, soulful voice. My main man Dex, Rad Dad numero uno. How are you feeling about that?
Being the number one Rad Dad or doing stand-up?
Either or.
I don't think I'm ready for the mantle of number one Rad Dad yet. Actually, I'm on Threads now.
Yeah, I saw that. What's that about?
I'm on Threads.
I don't understand that. I'm an old guy.
But my Threads bio says that I am one half of the Rad Dad Redemption podcast. More than half if you measure by weight. So
I don't think that's true.
I think it is.
I was put on a clinic camping. That is one thing. That's a throwback to the start of the episode. You know what camping really is? Just like, well, now I'm outdoors, so I'm gonna sleep with this bag of Doritos.
I'm not gonna drink heavily.
Oh yeah. Like that. That's the game. That's the real trick about parenting outdoors. Is like, how drunk can you get when they're asleep to
and still be responsible
and get up and do stuff. Yeah,
it's a fine line. Some parents really like to test that line.
Yeah, this parent.
Oh, you came home with your kids, so you did good.
Yeah, and they had fun. Yeah. We got Natural Ensemble.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's lots of people getting really excited about that.
Yeah. I was actually at Big Beaver on my birthday last week, and I saw some of my clients, and they were like totally unprompted asking the waitress about our event, and they were like, Natural Ensemble's gonna be here? Geese is gonna be here? And the waitress was like, I guess. And I was like, let me field this. I was like sitting right there. I was like, I got some information for you.
Yeah.
Because it's my event, kind of.
Oh yeah, I still do.
It's our event.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very serendipitous.
Gutlessly promoting ourselves.
Oh yeah,
under the guise
and
of
then I had
more talented friends.
To my like very professional clients that like I have a not so professional podcast and I do stand up.
Ooh, did they?
No, they're chill though. They're cool.
That's sick.
Yeah. I gotta be careful though, right? Like I'm like, okay, cool clients. Yeah, I'll tell you.
Do you say that? You're like, are you guys fucking cool?
you cool? You gonna fucking tell on me?
You guys like to party?
Yeah, no. So. But yeah, it was a new experience.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people reach out looking to reserve. I think it's gonna be a busy night, so it shows at 7, and
get there at 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
Yeah, they open at noon.
Might as well get there then.
I'd say
get some brewskis in you.
Camp out the night before, probably. Let's get a line going.
Pretend it's like a new Halo release,
Nintendo Wii style.
Oh yeah,
yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, you can. You can make donations to the food bank, and they oh so much need it. And I'll just try and like bring it back. No explanation of commerce, but my father-in-law does volunteer there. They're hurting, man. They don't have a lot of shit these days.
And and a lot of people need it. There's kind of like two things at play where their purchasing power is decreased, right? Just with the wild inflation of the cost of food. Fuck you, Galen Weston.
Yeah. He's out.
Yeah, Galen Weston is not well. Galen Weston, if you're listening to this podcast, you're not welcome at our event.
Unless you bring
$100,000 for the Okotoks Food Bank.
Yeah, bring a lot of money, yeah. Galen, you're in.
And then, but yeah, so like they're kind of getting hit from two angles where a lot more people are needing their services and their purchasing power from donations is reduced, right? And they do have better purchasing power than like you or I walking into the grocery store because they're purchasing in large volumes. But yeah, so they're kind of getting hit from those two angles. So it's important to support them, and you're supporting all your community as well.
Yeah, lots of real cool businesses that are showing out, but also, come check out the Rad Dads Live. We're doing our thing, and if you don't like our shit, come do it for a good cause. All right.
there's gonna be other stuff too.
Yeah. There's beer.
I mean, like, yeah, that's the base thing. Like, if you don't like anything that's happening that night, just drink some good beer, get shit-faced, have a good time.
Yeah, hell yeah. Send us an email, raddadredemptionpodcast@gmail.com. We will read it on air. We appreciate that. Check out BajaLife.style. We've added some tanks. We've added some, actually the golf wear is hype. I just finally got my order. I haven't received it yet, but I got my
Oh yeah, you ordered the Magnolia Fit.
My Magnolia Fit.
You know what I was really sad about?
What's that?
Is your lovely sister-in-law ordered a golf shirt, like the polo, the embroidery, and apparently it doesn't ship to Canada. So there's me being a fucking idiot setting up a store of items that do not ship to the country that we operate in.
Well, it's a process.
We're learning.
We're learning every day.
So that kind of sucked. But the rest of the golf stuff is cool. I got the Arnie Palmy tee.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Did it come?
No, I'm still waiting on it, but it should be here any day now. If it comes before the Rad Dad Live event, I'm wearing it to the Rad Dad.
I want my Magnolia Fit. I want my Masters green. That's what I was hoping on.
Okay. Hopefully it arrives. I think it said it was supposed to be here on the 17th. So
okay, do or die.
Should be good. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. See you on the 22nd, unless you're listening to this episode after the 22nd, in which case you missed the best party.
It was amazing.
We had so much fun without you.
See you next time.
Bye.
Listen to the next show when the Rad Dads blackmail the ghost of Colonel Sanders into revealing the secret herbs and spices.